Hello and welcome to Talkin Jake. It's tier list season, and we're going out to the left coast, left field. I liked the left field position. There was more quality than I thought. The top's a little ugly, but there's a lot of beef and a lot of potential. Speaking of both of those words, Jolly Olive is here. How are you, Jolly?
I'm good, Jake.
It's been a minute.
We've been gabbing today, though.
We have been gabbing, talking baseball. We pre-recorded a couple tier lists, so it's been a minute since we've actually been in the lab. So I'm excited to grind it out with you and King Beebs today. And as our tier list, we like to start off with some tiers, and I think we've done good.
Yeah, I think we did really well today.
I think we've done well so far. And thank you to everyone that's been tuning in and listening. People like the tier list, man.
Hell yeah.
How about that? And everyone said they like Carabas more than you. I don't know what that's about.
That's fair.
But
That's
Got
weird.
better beard.
it's fair.
If the tier list did bring you here, might as well subscribe. Thanks.
Sorry.
It's okay. At the top of the tier list, we currently have moving staged left. Doesn't feel like an S tier, but I don't know what that even means. Ran out of hands. Been there. Is that about carrying groceries? Can you play left field? Interesting third tier for the position. Thank you, sir. May I have another 2026 S tiers? Young studs, it feels like. What's left in the tank? Might have been a jolly one. And then at the bottom, I put this may be the bottom because I think it's going to be the bottom. We'll see if we need to separate those guys anymore. Happy Grape, we discussed the top of the list, and I think there's two names that are unequivocally on top of the left field position.
Yeah, we came to a pretty mutual agreement pretty quick on the two names that we thought should be up here. And it's interesting because you think of the S tiers in some of our other tier lists, and they're names of the game, faces of franchises type thing, but you look at these two guys in the AL, and they are very, very clearly at the pinnacle of left field play right now. And left field's a funky position. We're going to get into it. But there is no real funk when it comes to Riley Green, who was just absolutely fantastic, very clearly the best position player on the Detroit Tigers, a team that was one win away from the ALCS last year. He fully broke out, the former 5th overall pick, with a 5-WAR year, 24 home runs, was playing a lot of center field last year. Looks like he's going to be the primary left fielder, even though he was the primary left fielder last year. So that WAR number may tick up, but I'm expecting big things. He's only going to be 24 years old. The future is very bright in Detroit with him and Tarek Skubal. And yeah, when you look across the field, in terms of guys that bring everything to the table, in terms of gloves, speed, contact, power, Riley Green has it all going for him.
Riley Green, 5.5 B-WAR last year, 24 years old. It seems like the light bulb is on. This is a dumb little thing. You don't see a lot of baseball references that are just like an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
He came up as a 21-year-old, played 93 games, 682 OPS. He then, as a 22-year-old, he played 99 games, 796 OPS. That's really good. Last year, 137. It all comes together, 827. It feels like there's more to that trajectory. And like you said, shifting over to left field, it's a big outfield there.
Oh, yeah.
People forget that. Riley Green is prime. I don't know, 30 homer season and good defense. Is that enough to be an S-tier left fielder? I think so.
I think it is too. And I mean, you can look at his month by month, and a lot of his down months were when Parker Meadows wasn't really in the picture for the Tigers because he got sent down, had to fix his approach a little bit. And when Parker Meadows was down, Riley Green was playing more center field. Meadows comes up. He's the center fielder because he's a great defender. Green moves to left, and I think that might have had a positive impact on his offense because he finished the year really strong with an 837 OPS in September when they were winning basically every day, the Tigers were. So that extrapolated over a full season, I'm pretty excited for Riley Green in 2025. Extrapolate
that. Okay, Riley Green, really bad numbers as a DH last year. So Tigers, don't do that. That's my advice. He also, the numbers were they fell right under a 700 OPS versus lefties. he is in the position that he plays every day, and the best way to get better at that is see more of it. So let's see his evolution there. And then there's an easy guy that joins him. I will introduce him because he plays for my favorite team.
Of course.
Jarren Duran had an insane season last year that got overshadowed by 3-4 other freak seasons in the AL last year. Bobby Witt, Gunnar, Judgy, and Soto. Jarren Duran put up an 8.7 B WAR. That's some years that's MVP level. He ended up 8th in the MVP. Cora called him out a little bit before the season. We need you to be our leadoff hitter. We need you to be a guy on this team. And he did. He led the American League and I think all of baseball in plate appearances, at-bats, doubles, and triples. 34 stolen bases, and 834 OPS with that kind of speed. Another guy that's wrestled a little bit of center. It feels like the Sox are going to try to have him settle in left field. And I will say, with all these outfield lists, and I saw some of the comments when we did right field, outfield gets a little tricky. We got a lot of guys hopping around these days. Who's going to be here? Who's going to be there? So we're doing our best, people.
Getting ahead of the future controversy, Trout moved to right field after we did that one, so he might just not end up on tier lists this year.
I like that for him. That's the current state of Mike Trout.
No pressure. Yeah, Jarren Duran, 8th in MVP voting, which is nuts. I mean, I think it's like you have to compete with Vladdy and Juan Soto and Judge and Bobby Witt and Gunnar. It's like you lose this in the cards of what was a terrific season. Something about, this might just be me being a nerd, I love seeing the number 7 in plate appearances when it gets to that 700.
That means
tier.
You played a lot of ball.
That means you were out there every day. And I love
that.
that you bring up the core thing whenever we talk about him, because I do think that had a pretty decent effect on Duran kind of stepping into the player he became at age 27, the former 7th round pick. A little different than the 5th overall pick for Riley Green. Jarren Duran, he makes me excited for the Red Sox, man. I mean, he starts that engine a little bit. Everyone's talking about the infield right now with Bregman coming in and where's Devers going to play. You forget that this is a pretty talented outfield unit, and the headliner is Jarren Duran, who's coming off one of the better seasons of the 2020s just overall. And it's tough when you compete in that AL East division with a ton of talented outfielders, but Jarren Duran, fully deserving to be in that S tier.
Yeah, in 2023, well, this is Jarren Duran was incredible last year, 2024. He had the 5th best WAR. It was Shohei. It was Judge, Witt, Gunnar in the AL, and then Shohei was the only one in the NL. So it was the 5th best WAR on all of baseball, which is pretty nuts. And to try to make the scope a little better, it would have been the 2nd best in 2023. Only Shohei would have beaten him.
God damn.
So, I mean, Red Sox fans, if they really wanted, they could even make a push to put Jarren Duran alone on the S tier. If Riley Green outplays Jarren Duran this year, I don't think anyone would be surprised. Jarren Duran has a little more help from his ballpark.
Oh, yeah.
And his lineup, which I know some people still don't believe in that. But I think it's a nice topping for these two. Moving stage left. Let's put center field in our rear view. Let's go out to left. Let's make the plays, and let's hit a lot. Duran sets the tone for that lineup, and if I was corny, I would say the Tigers go as far as Riley Green takes them. But it's probably the 5 basically rookies they're starting, and if they're good or not. So that's for Talkin Tigers. Please don't apply for that job position. After them, Jolly, I guess if you got one name next, because this is a pairing, so I don't know. In the ran out of hands category.
Oh.
No. I will start over. You get one name. I say Jarren Duran, Riley Green, okay. Whatever your team needs. You need speed, you need power. Do you believe in Riley Green going to the next step? You could debate that all you want. The next guy for left field.
Oh.
Because I don't know if you believe in it.
My number 3 left fielder is what you're asking me. I think it's Stephen Kwan. I think, but I'm torn because Kwan does a lot, and he's also kind of my favorite kind of baseball player to watch. I really like watching contact hitters. I just think.
Did you see him at spring training?
I saw him. I didn't get to chat with him. Rosie kind of hogged him a little bit.
Yeah,
kind of hogged him. I didn't want to say anything because he was like a kid in a candy store at Guardians camp, but he did hog Quan a little bit. Yeah. Me and Will Brennan are tight. That's fine. 4-war season last year. 3 straight Gold Gloves to start his career.
It's good.
Which might be the first time that ever happened. I don't know. I made that stat.
Yeah.
Whether or not you believe it, that's up to you. The slug was up last year, which has me excited moving forward. He had 11 home runs going into the year. He hit 14 last year, which is pretty neat. So if he's adding that dimension to his game, there's a very distinct possibility that Quan even nudges his way to the top tier.
Also, if I tuned you out, my apologies, but
Whatever.
4 WAR in 122 games.
Which puts him on 6 WAR or...
Which that was essentially his rookie year.
Yeah, that's like...
Yeah.
Real good. That's Riley Green and Jaron Duran.
Right.
Type capability, which he did that his rookie season. So the reason I put Quan 3 and the other guy who I'll let you talk about 4 is because I think we don't exactly know how good it can get for Steven Kwan, which by the way, Cleveland Guardians extend the man like now because you just got a bunch of money off your books. Lock him up.
Sadly, already a Yankee. I can't believe you missed
You
that.
you don't even believe that. You don't believe the
I
words
want
that came out
to.
of your mouth. Sure. Quan, he's just a really fun player to watch. I'm a little bit biased towards him for sure. But I think he, among left fielders, I would put him in my top 3.
Seeing Quan's rookie year and seeing that he did miss action last year, it raises the eyebrow a little bit. I mean, it's a high risk. I know he upped his power numbers, but offensively, he's banking on being a contact bat, which is very hard in modern baseball. But he has the tool, and some of his numbers are so sick. Seeing his strikeout to walk numbers are insane. I mean, kind of a dream leadoff hitter. I know baseball's gotten away from that a little bit, but obviously you want the Shoheis or Judge or whoever. I'd like to see those guys with Steven Kwan in front of them.
Right. This is the archetype.
Get a hit, get on
of the
base.
leadoff. I mean, you mentioned the walk to strikeout rate. 2 of his 3 years, more walks than strikeouts. Career, 185 walks to 186 strikeouts. That's just nice. They don't. Ball players don't come like that. And Gold Glove defense on top of all that.
And like we probably, if the Guardians didn't value run prevention over everything, like for a lot of teams, Steven Kwan probably would have been their center fielder.
Right.
And we'd be talking about, is he one of the best center fielders in baseball? So I'm glad Steven Kwan's up here. I was wondering if I would have any question marks that popped up with him. I do not. I love the way he plays. Excited to see him on the Yankees. I do want to pair him with, if you go look at the Gold Glove winners for left field for the past 3 years, Quan, Hap. Are we too close to the situation? I don't think so, because I'm getting a switch hitting left fielder, 3 straight Gold Gloves. His past 3 years are a 118 OPS plus. It is technically slightly ticked up each year, 117, 118, 120. Ian Happ will be 30 this year. And, man, hey, for everything we said about Riley Green being in the S tier, like, can he get to 30 homers and play that elite defense? Ian Happ is switch hitting. He hit 25 homers last year. And, man, switch hitting is still undervalued in baseball.
Yes.
And it just doesn't happen a lot. That Ian Happ, Jolly, we play a lot of out-of-the-park baseball.
We do.
I think if we came up to a Ian Happ draft pick selection, Quan's a little younger, maybe that's it. It's also depending how you want to build your team. These guys are so set it and forget it on any team, and I think that's why they ended up on this tier above a couple other names we really like. But I think if you're being honest, if everything's neutral, these guys are better all-around ball players.
I mean, a big barometer we use for tier lists is the last 3 years. It's last year and then the last 3, and the Gold Glove thing kind of fell into our lap, which is why we named it Ran Out of Hands. Ran Out of Hands for your Gold Gloves. Happ, in a different way to Quan, where I said, like, how good can Quan get? We know how good Happ is because he's been literally the same dude for the past 3 years. He's been a 4-WAR player. He plays 150 games, hits 20 home runs, and he's a switch hitter that is good on both sides. Like, switch hitters are fairly uncommon in the game right now. What's even less common is a switch hitter that's actually like a true switch hitter.
Right.
That like doesn't have a weakness on one side. Happ is one of those guys. I think his contract is one of the best in baseball. Cubs did a great job locking him up to that number. And you just know exactly what you're going to get. It's exactly what you said before in terms of like what can you set in your lineup and just kind of forget about. Happ's been that way for a very long time now. I just think he gets discredited a little bit because even at Happ's best, Riley Green and Jarren Duran have outdone him, like in their most recent season, which I think that's what we're banking on with the S tier. It's like who is the truly elite of this category? Not saying that Happ can't be an elite player, but I do think that like you probably know more or less what you're going to get with Ian Happ at this point.
Yeah, I guess if we did rude tier lists, which is just not our brand.
It's coming up next.
3 nice guys here. That's not really a John Boy Media thing. Assholes stand out. That's one of our company's inside things. Not about the actual body. I guess for me, if we were rude, Happ and Quan kind of have a ceiling.
Yeah.
Cap.
No cap.
That was them
No cap.
combined. Quan, offensively, I mean, I hope I'm wrong and we're talking about him hitting 380 or something like that, but the power is just not going to be there. Ian Happ, as much as I very much like the guy, it doesn't feel like there's a 40-homer season in the tank or something like that Riley Green in different stadium, I think we'd be talking about that. And Jarren Duran, the whole 9-WAR thing. You don't see a lot of players with his speed be able to play baseball that good. Yeah. So I like where it landed, and I think it did open up the next tier of can you play left field, which, Jolly, I'm going to expose you a little bit. My favorite thing to do.
Of course.
When we were initially talking about how do we think this sorts out, what names are you thinking of, you threw out one of my favorite players, one of my mom's favorite players, as you mentioned, Anthony Santander.
I did.
As we talk about 40-homer potential, throw potential out. Did it. I guess for him, he's never racked up a big WAR season because his defense is lacking, and this is a guy, he feels like he's on a track towards DH.
Yeah.
That can you play left field? I'm very interested to see how the Blue Jays handle it, the team that's valued outfield defense the most the past few years. This was their big free agent splash. Santander, it's an interesting offensive profile too. It's not perfect. It's very good. I don't know what he can do in left field.
So he's been a primary right fielder for most of his career. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know the park factors of corner outfields in Camden and Toronto. I don't have that in my book. I apologize. What I do know is that 40 homers as a switch hitter is sick. Like, that's really valuable. And I said it earlier in the offseason that I feel like so many people said that Santander was an overrated free agent that I feel like by proxy he became an underrated free agent. I still think that he's going to have really good years.
Have you been saying by proxy a lot?
I feel like I'm on like a dictionary kick today. I feel like I'm whipping out a lot of new terms.
Proxy?
I don't know. I had 2 coffees today. I'm jazzed up.
Nice.
With Santander, it is a little bit of like, how is your team constructed? And like, if Santander is in an outfield with a lesser defensive center fielder that can't pick up some of the slack or shift over and help, then like, yeah, you view it a little bit differently. In the same way, he has the best home run potential of anyone on this list. I think that's a pretty fair statement. I don't think anybody else is sniffing, the 44 mark that he set last year. He's at 100 over the last 3 years, which is pretty bonkers when you think about it. So I don't know. Is the switch to left field going to kick things into gear for him?
100 over the last 3?
Yeah. Is my math right there? Let's see.
I think so.
105.
Beebs, can you give me the 100 over 3 list?
Oh.
Just of all of baseball?
Just baseball players over 100 home runs last time.
Judge, Ohtani.
Shout out Stathead.
Probably Soto. We'll see who else. But
why'd you say probably?
I think it is. I'm not great with this whole month. No,
yeah,
I lost track of him.
I'm sure you didn't look at his page every day next year. All right. Point is, Santander gets a little bit discounted because WAR doesn't love him as much because of the defense.
Right.
But that is why this tier is named this. Can you play left field? Because if you can and maintain that same level of approach hitting, then yeah, things are going to tick up for you in a big way. Entering his age 30 season. For a lot of guys, that's a good thing. For some guys, it's not such a good thing. We will see. He's one of the more intriguing free agents going into this first season of a new deal for me.
Well, I've got something more intriguing because this was a late ad that we didn't know if was going to be on this list. I mean, even this morning, I was like, I don't know if we can include
I felt good about my insight on should he be there, but like I was nervous that it was just going to be a whole thing.
Because there was no way the Houston Astros are going to move Jose Altuve to left field, right? Question mark.
Why is he here?
But it seems like they are. He gave his infield glove to a kid. That was the tweet this morning, which that feels a little over the top either way.
You might need
Like I'm pretty sure he's going to play some second base still.
Feels like you'd want to keep that glove. I don't know.
Anthony Santander, one of 9 hitters with 100 home runs the last 3 years. Juan Soto on the list. 103.
See? It was closer than the experts
Aaron
might
Judge,
think.
not on the list.
9 players have hit 100 homers over the last 3 seasons.
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is number 1.
You don't joke about that, Jolly. It's not a place for jokes. Any surprises on the list?
I was surprised by
You look dainty
none
right
of these
now.
names.
This is
honestly,
perfect.
none of these names.
Okay.
me
Most
to
surprising name on the list?
I'll try again. Kyle Schwarber, I guess. I don't know.
Santander.
Santander.
He is
maybe
the
that's
surprising
maybe
name.
that was the whole
Yeah.
conversation.
In order: Judge, Shohei, Schwarber, Alonso, Matt Olson, Santander, Alvarez, Soto, Ozuna.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Ozuna. I mean,
He's in my division.
I know he's great last year, but okay. Can you play left field? Jose Altuve will join him. I was very nervous to click on Jose Altuve's page because I was like, wait, does he have 900 OPS potential in him? Because in 22 and 23 he did. I was interested to see where the stats landed last year. 295, 350, a 790 OPS. He won the Silver Slugger at second base.
He did?
At age 34. Yeah, this is just a little bit of a wild card, man. It's the tidiest left field to play, along with Fenway Park for Mr. Duran and Mr. Altuve. Weird, I just started talking like that. Yeah, a little bit of a hands-up situation here.
Yeah, man. I mean, I wasn't mentally prepared to talk about Altuve in left field until like 15 minutes ago when we found out it was actually happening. It makes sense because the Astros outfield is kind of in a really weird spot. I mean, I love the guy, but Ben Gamel was the opening day left fielder for them. He was a great Met last year, but it was shocking to see that.
Okay.
Now Altuve is in left field. I think Dubon's going to play second. And this is kind of it's a giving respect to Altuve kind of thing because I think the second base tier list, he's going to be near the top. It makes sense that he's kind of near the top here because I just kind of believe that Altuve, the baseball guy, will be able to do this really well. And maybe that's unfounded because we've literally never seen it. But he's just kind of good at everything he does, and he's one of the most fun players in baseball to watch, even at the age of 35 going into this year. I still have all the expectation that he'll be a plus offensive player and be able to man left field because they've stuck out a bunch of guys out there. I mean, they stick Yordan out there for 81 games every year, and it seems to go just fine. So I don't see why Altuve won't be able to do it. It'll be an adjustment period for sure. I'm sure the first month we'll get some highlights or something, and people will be talking about it. And then I'll settle in, and he'll be Jose Altuve. But I don't know if you can put him any higher because he's never played the position. And I do think there is some conversation of should some guys go over him and Santander potentially who can do both sides of the ball.
Well, yeah, and I Altuve he landed at a 3.4 last year. I think he might have got actually dinged defensively. He did, but I don't expect him to be a plus defensively. Like I
don't think the Astros do either.
How many guys turn 35, move to the outfield, and start to thrive? Like that might be a zero.
Yeah.
And I
Don't know how to search that.
I think a lot of people know how my body is structured.
Do they?
You don't see a lot of guys built like us that are playing the outfield at a very high level.
Not really.
At age 35?
Are you saying that you and Altuve are built the same way?
In a way, it's built different, and that's kind of the whole thing.
Okay.
I guess I was very nervous that it was going to be like, okay, here come the Houston comments. How is Altuve not higher? I think this is a fair. for him to be placed with Anthony Santander, I think that's.
I think
pretty-
this is more than fair, and it might change.
On the defensive end, hasn't played this in real games yet, and offensively, like last year
It's a
at
step
34, is a step down from still MVP level. So I think I think he's landed in the right place here.
Does anyone deserve to be with these cats?
By the name of the tier, no.
Right. Which is always adjustable.
The question I have more so is, will this tier move down? Which we have to talk about.
Whoa.
Potentially. Because
Let's talk about
there's a lot of guys who had good to great years last year who definitely can do it on both sides of the ball. Some with deeper resumes than others, some with injury concerns that I think warrant a conversation. And that kind of leads into our next tier. Thank you, sir. Can I have another? Now, I'm viewing this tier as any of the guys that land here had a great year at some point recently, whether it was 2024 or the year before that.
Okay.
Because we see good year, down year all the time.
Sure.
I think the easiest layup for this conversation is Jurickson Profar, who was, after a 10-year odyssey, former top prospect in the game, came to San Diego on a $1 million deal and started the All-Star game and was the answer in the outfield for them. Had a 4-WAR season, 24 home runs, 10 stolen bases. He was incredible. He just got a new deal with the Braves. I like that fit a lot.
From start to finish, he was one of the best outfielders in the National League last year.
And we talk about we like switch hitters, and like he's another example of that. Profar is interesting because how much can you trust it? Age 31 breakout season doesn't happen very often,
Right.
especially after 10 years in the league where everyone kind of thought they knew what you were. So what exactly is Jurickson Profar? We're going to find this out in a pretty deep Braves lineup where he gets protected, whether you believe in that or not. But he is the textbook definition of Profar. Can we see it again? Because that was really fun to watch.
Profar is a weird mental exercise for a lot of reasons. As the list currently looks, I'm okay with it because in my heart of hearts, because this isn't supposed to be building a dynasty. Like, we're going to get to some of the young studs coming up, like James Wood. And if you do, who would you rather have on your team? Like, well, yeah, give me James Wood over Jurickson Profar. For the 2025 season, as I look at Santander, Altuve, and Jurickson Profar, I'm Santander and Altuve. Profar was better than them last year, but also if Jurickson Profar has like a 1-WAR season this year, I'm not going to be shocked at all.
I'd be disappointed, but I'd be like, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That's who he was for 10 years.
And then you'd start crafting up that video so quickly.
I made a positive Profar video this year.
What if I told you?
I sung his praises.
Trevor
Savant
Plouffe.
page looks real.
The Savant, all of it was very real
And
last
like when
year.
AA gives a guy money, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, shit, he knows something.
It's Jurickson Profar was very much if he signed with team you don't believe in, you're like, oh, that's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
Signed with the Braves, and everyone's like, shoot.
If the Rockies,
damn
the
it,
Rockies
yes,
brought
good.
him back. I was like, let's hear
Pirates?
$40 million. Yeah, Pirates is what I thought for a little bit too. Although I
If
would've
he's
loved
good, the Pirates, never mind.
they should be ashamed.
Never mind. Yes. Thank you, sir. Can I have another? That's easily Jurickson Profar. Jolly, I don't know this list inside out. I think the man with the second most homers on this list is Tyler O'Neill, who hit 31 last year in 113 games.
Didn't he like take over in April?
By the way, got more money than Profar.
He did.
The Orioles, it was kind of their like move. They brought him in to replace Santander, essentially.
Yeah.
It's a weird baseball reference. Has a 6-WAR season in the bag. What would we have been saying in 2021 when Tyler O'Neill, at age 26, had 6 WAR? He's dealt with injuries his whole career. He has 2 Gold Gloves. One's 2020. Hey, counts. That's in his.
It does count.
That's crazy.
The 2020 Gold Glove list is nasty, by the way. Look at it. It's just nasty.
Tyler O'Neill might may surprise people. I guess if you're a Sox fan and you got to watch his games last year, it doesn't. But that was a massive season. But he has more not massive seasons under his resume than good ones.
First of all, 2020 AL Gold Glove winner IKF wants your attention. Second of all,
Third baseman.
yes.
Yep.
Do you want to expand on that, or?
It's a very different position.
I've heard that conversation many times, but I'm not
The
sure that they have.
Yankees didn't play him at third base until, was it late September?
He got like 4 games.
His Gold Glove
I
position?
got them going, guys.
damn it,
Leave a comment
Jolly.
down below if you want it.
1 point Jolly.
Tyler O'Neill is interesting because, I mean, the 1.127 OPS in April last year was pretty neat. 9 home runs in the first month. I thought, oh, shit. 2021 O'Neill is back. Dealt with some injuries, dealt with some ups and downs, and that's kind of a little bit of the story with Tyler O'Neill. Can you keep him healthy? The Orioles took a pretty big bet, dubbing him, hey, we're losing a switch hitter who gave us 44 home runs last year. We're going to pay you $16.5 million a year to replace him in value. And the biggest way he can do that is playing a full season, which he has only done once in his 7-year career, which was 2021. And that was 138 games.
Yeah.
So by some metrics, it's not even a full season. So that's the biggest thing for O'Neill. I think if he plays 150 games and is the same guy that he is, you're talking about a guy that moves up into the second tier because he is athletic, he's fast, he can hit you 30 home runs. He is that caliber of player. He's worth the money if you can just keep him healthy. But like Profar, how we kind of counted him out a little bit because of career resume, the same way we're counting out O'Neill because of injury history and stuff like that. And each of the guys in this category, I think, is going to have some sort of caveat with that. So O'Neill he's kind of a head scratcher to me because I really thought 2021 was the beginning of an ascension. I mean, a former top prospect in the Cardinals system, one of the outfielders they kept because they let a lot of outfielders go to other teams. Adolis Garcia, Randy Rosarena. We'll see. O'Neill in Baltimore, they're moving the wall back in for their pole hitter, kind of like that. Makes playing defense in left field easier too. There's a lot of things going his way. Can you just stay on the field?
Yeah, the only other caveat, which hey, this may be some player hater ball stuff, is I don't fully know who he is as a hitter. Fenway, maybe this could be a Jolly Olive video.
Oh,
I think there's a history that almost like clockwork. Boston has a right-handed hitter play out of their dome almost every year, which Fenway Park obviously.
I think Adam
leans into.
Duvall did it.
Adam
couple years
Duvall,
ago.
2022. If I click on 2021, let's see who comes up. Bogarts used to just be really good. Hunter Renfroe,
Yeah, I
JD
forgot about that.
Martinez, Kevin Plawecki.
Stop.
I'm gonna stop. The exact opposite is Baltimore.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see where that lands. Power isn't the problem with him. Go check out the Instagram. Beefy.
Kind of.
Jacked.
That's too much beef.
There's a discussion for another day.
I'm just like ball players look a certain way.
I think his dad was like Mr. Canada or something.
Sure. My dad was Hulk Hogan. So I think they fought at some point.
Jerks and Profar, Tyler O'Neill share the stage. I'm going to throw out a guy that gets me kind of jazzed that we're looking for another. And maybe we're treating this guy wrong altogether, but Elliot Ramos.
Yeah, he's interesting.
Because he does have the credentials. He's a top first-round pick. He got his first full season of play. He did good. We went to the All-Star game last year, and guys were hitting. Don't want to be old school scout. Bat sounded different.
The crack of the bat was just different with this guy.
It sounded different. That I don't know if this guy wasn't tucked away in the Bay and we didn't hate on the Giants for being the Giants the past couple years. Would we be talking about him differently?
I found something crazy. Wow, I've never seen a split this large. OPS against lefties, Elliot Ramos,
1.2.
1.189. OPS against righties,
650.
673. That's a near 600-point
Love
difference.
that.
I don't love it either. I really don't love it.
Love if it was flipped.
There's no secret for a month span. He took over for the Giants, and he really got them back in the conversation in the wild card race in June. 304 average, 946 OPS. Everything else was kind of okay around that month, which you shouldn't discredit one good month as nothing. That's really
A
hard
lot
to
of guys
do.
need one big month.
That's what I'm saying. So with Ramos, he's the biggest wild card on the list for me, to be honest. Age 25 season, fully broke out at age 24. Former high draft pick, like the Giants were expecting this out of him, but a long road to get here. 2017 draft. I like guys that spent a lot of time in the minors and got that seasoning because I do think that they usually pan out better unless they're these generational talents that come up at 21 or whatever. So Ramos, I would not be surprised if he comes out and does it again this year, and I think the Giants are expecting that of him. He's supposed to be a big part of their lineup. So I think I'm okay with the placing. It feels a little weird because O'Neal's gotten MVP votes. Profar was MVP vote getter last year. Is Ramos quite at their caliber yet? I don't know that.
Right.
But we could revisit this conversation in a year's time and think, why was there any question to not put him in this tier?
Yeah, I'm on the Savant right now. There's a lot of red. There's a bit of blue. God, this feels like a guy that if he played in Cincinnati, we'd be like,
oh, yeah. Excited.
What is he going to do this year? Yeah. And that feels unfair to a degree. Actually, I always forget they have that.
That's available
on this page. So he hit 22 homers last year. It said he would have hit 19 in Kansas City, so we don't like that. It said he would have hit 33 in Cincinnati.
There you go.
How crazy is that?
I feel since he was the highest number, right? Yeah.
That's a different ball player. But yeah, Giants fans, you often let us know, but please, is this guy the truth? We're gonna find out this year.
Yeah,
because he's roped up. His body kind of reminds me of Adolis Garcia
a little bit. Yeah.
Again, baseball happens fast.
5'11", 180.
Both wrong.
I think 5.
He weighs 180.
You think he's bigger?
He was like Diesel.
Let's look. I need a full body.
No, muscle's heavy.
Let's see that. Hang on.
Look at Ramos.
Oh, he's a big boy.
Right?
He's giving me a little Sandoval.
Hey.
Careful.
Not Sandoval Red Sox. I'm not Sandoval Giants.
I mean, that's still not.
Come on. You don't see that at all? I see it a little bit. Comment down below.
He joins the list. Anyone else you would like to see another that you think talent-wise deserves to be here?
You're going to make me say it?
Jason Dominguez.
I think Brandon Nimmo deserves a conversation in here.
I'll talk about him.
Nimmo didn't have a good year last year. I'll be the first one to say it. Very streaky, very up and down. Often looked very lost at the plate, even when the team was going. But we are talking about a guy that the prior 2 years was a 5-WAR and 4-WAR center fielder.
Right.
So I do still feel like that player is in the tank for Brandon Nimmo. Still hit 20 homers last year, set a career high in stolen bases. The slug was decent. I think with him, it was the plate discipline fell off a little bit because a lot was asked of him as the cleanup hitter a lot last year. And I do think the Juan Soto factor does equate into this dynamic of I think he's going to lift up everybody in that lineup. And Nimmo, I think, can be a benefactor of that. So in the same way that we're putting Ramos in this tier, despite not having the career resume,
right,
I almost want to put Nimmo in this tier because he has the career resume, even though he was definitely a lesser player than all these guys last year.
How's his defense? How does it feel fan-wise?
It's much better. So he had a great defensive year in center field in 22, took a massive step back in 23, so they moved him. And then last year it was league average. And everyone knows about Brandon Nimmo's arm. It's not good. So, yeah, there is liability when it comes to Nimmo as a defender.
Okay. Yeah, no, I have no qualms with it. You watched a lot more Nimmo than me last year. I mean, Nimmo's 2020 to 2023 is...
It's a nice butter knife.
Very impressive, and the conversation would deserve to be much higher on the list. That... Yeah, I can't fully ding him for last year. I just think it's... Nimmo gets interesting.
Yeah. Because him and like a Rosarena, they feel like a similar conversation.
That's the next guy I was gonna say. Like it
Like, are
feels
they
like they should be
a pair or something.
judged similarly based on resume and.
I want to. I think we found our hiccup that I want to check boxes that we can check and come back because I think we're gonna have to add a tier.
I think so,
something
too.
feels
Think
off.
so.
Let's do 2026 S tiers because this is going to be the most fun.
This is easy.
Wyatt Langford. I can't believe where the stats landed last year. Massive final month, 4th overall pick in the draft. Felt like the light bulb went on, and I didn't think it was a good season, and it was for WAR that we could very easily anything we've said about Riley Green could be said about him soon. That he could be dominating this. Anything there?
Yeah, I mean, he caught me off guard. I had a conversation with Dalton Feely a couple weeks ago about this exact list, about who we think might be at the top. He mentioned Langford. I kind of did like a little scoff because I was thinking of his first half stats,
Right,
where I stopped checking in on the Rangers altogether. Then I took a look and I said, "Oh my God,
right?
he's a 4-WAR 22-year-old dude. That doesn't happen
No.
very often." So with him and a collective Rangers bounce back, we're going to get a shot at seeing Wyatt Langford in a much bigger spotlight in 2025, which is pretty exciting. And it was so funny because the whole story of the Rangers postseason run for a while was the kid's sensation of Evan Carter, who came
Right.
up, played 10 games, and then was just a dog on their postseason run. I think if you ask a Rangers fan, the guy they're much more excited about is Wyatt Langford now. And I think they expect things from both of them.
Yeah.
But Langford has entered a different conversation in terms of doing it over a full season and getting people hyped up for what's going to be a very interesting sophomore campaign.
The other guy links to Juan Soto.
Oh, yeah.
Your guy.
Oh, yeah.
Big James Wood, man. He came up, he mauled. 122 OPS plus, 9 homers, 14 stolen bases, 8 caught stealings, having fun in the Capitol. 79 games, so half a season. So I think the interesting part, defensively, he graded out very poorly.
Yeah.
So what does that look like and feel like for a 6'7" guy? Do we need to make alternate James Wood plans coming up? I think we'll find out about that. The offensive profile, if big men are taking over baseball, God damn it, just one more thing for them. James Wood has the potential to be very special. His breakout season, whenever that comes, could be silly numbers.
Yeah. As an NL East guy, I'm prepping for this potential takeover. There's a couple things that stand out to me about James Wood. One is the freak athleticism, 6'7". He's like 80th percentile sprints, 85th. So he's 6'7", he's lightning fast. His field hitting numbers are nuts. They're even across the board. He was 32 pole, 36 straight, 31 oppo, so he's a pure hitter.
He's hit it hard.
And he hits it hard, and he hits the fastball. At a young age of, 21? 21 years old, he was raking against fastballs. His big thing was hitting the breaking pitch. So once he gets over that hump, which I'm sure he will because he was a top prospect and they expect him to, he's going to be very, very dangerous. So while he doesn't have that full season catalog that Langford put together, these two guys, I would not be shocked at all if we come back next year and they're maybe the best two players on this list.
Does anyone deserve to be with them? I'm trying to be honest with myself because I think there's only one maybe. I think it's my guy Dominguez, and I truly don't. Does he? In my head, I think there could be a James Wood conversation with Dominguez. That I think that would be fair. I think Wyatt Langford, he's shown me a season.
Yeah,
that feels a little unfair. It feels like James Wood is equidistant. Wyatt Langford over here. Here's James Wood. Here's Dominguez.
Yeah.
That it's fine to pair him with him. It's fine to pair Wood with Dominguez. But I don't think you can.
Well,
maybe
so
my Yankees showing.
You gave me your de facto rating there, kind of by accident. You were honest with me. You gave him a 1, 2, 3. Don't like that at all. Getting a little too jazzed up. I wish the 2023 sample was more than 8 games. Because he came up and he hit
Me
the homer
too.
off Verlander, and it was like, oh shit, he's here.
Highlight of the
And
season.
then
Best
he
to
was
ever do
gone.
it.
So last year, what do we all remember about Dominguez the most? He can't catch a fly ball. That's not great for the left field tier list.
Correct.
And it's just, I think Sample works against him a little bit.
So you want him, and can you play left field?
You want to move up.
There's a conversation for that.
You want to move up.
Can he play left field derogatory?
The mean version.
And that's him and James Wood.
I would vote no, but there is 3 of us. So, BBD, do you want to be our tiebreaker? And then you guys can fend off the comments when they come.
I think for this moment, I would put him there and be very open to adjusting as we clear out this list and see what feels.
Because he
Right.
feels more like a pairing with someone like MJ Melendez, in my opinion, who has been, to put it bluntly, bad, but people expect to be better.
Yeah, I guess
But they're different equations.
for me that's tough because Melendez
It's like bad.
How bad did it get? Oh, I
Melendez
got bad.
has not been good.
Yeah, no, I got bad. That's a lot of sample, too.
Where Jason Dominguez, I'm leaving Dominguez off the board for now. Let's check off the bottom of the list. There's a cursed picture of Connor, Joe, and Jason Hayward face mashed. I think that was
ignoring that.
BBD's love making. Who are the A's there? Is that Seth Brown?
Seth
and-
Brown and Miguel Andujar.
I can't look at that ever again.
We can bottom both
Just
those.
set
That's
that
fine.
on fire.
That's fine.
Benintendi's.
I'd probably left in the tank him just because
I'd like
Good
to see him on
August.
another team.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him on another team.
I think we could left in the
Whatever
tank.
Marlin that is on the bottom. It's just, who is that?
Comment down below.
this one, and I totally know this Marlin is Kyle Stowers.
Stowers.
Or at least it's supposed to be.
Doesn't he have the
potential.
flowy hair? Wasn't that like
Potential.
Like I've gotten tricked by the ESPN PNGs before.
Stowers, you're down there. Melendez is on the bottom. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
Joe.
think so.
Okay, so I've got my guy Chris Morel. I have some belief.
That also got pretty ugly last year, too. But he's also like Ray's machine. They might just fix him.
Yeah, I mean the
Gonna
power
put him in
numbers
the
are
right
still.
places.
I mean, he came over to the Rays and got worse, was the thing. Strikeout numbers are really bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's leave it for now.
Sure.
Let's do left in the tank. I do think Benny. I was shocked he hit 20 homers last year.
I think Benny.
I think he had like a legit good second half.
Like if Benny got traded to the Phillies this offseason, how many times would you hear like kind of like Benny there?
Yeah.
Slap it around, catch some balls. It's gotten ugly, and maybe he doesn't deserve this credit. But the White Sox also deserve so much bad credit.
Yeah. It's hard
830
to-
OPS in the second half from it. Like he put together a good
Right.
half.
Like, I don't know. I feel like it's just hard to have a good season when you're in that situation for anyone. Like, no matter who you are. Why don't we talk about the guy that did go to the Phillies? I feel like Max Kepler kind of fits there too.
For left in the tank.
Yeah. Replacement level player last year, 682 OPS. The year before, 120 OPS plus 24 homers. But ever since the end of the 2010s, it's been kind of a similar story for Kepler. Whereas, if you put him in this situation in the Phillies lineup, where maybe the vibes are a little higher, different environment for the first time in 10 years,
Right.
what's left in the tank? I don't know.
How many platoon guys do we have here? Like when I see Hayes, kind of Kepler, Nolan Jones, I don't know.
I don't know what to do with
I don't know
Jones.
what you do with that. Frelick's out there to play defense. Morel, who are you, Larnack?
Don't
I
look
saw
at
the
what he
stats.
did.
It's
Every
every
pretty
Twins
good.
hitter ever. Somehow
it
they have
is.
a
I was gonna say the
115
same.
Why doesn't that team work?
Like,
Maybe okay.
Matt Wallner
Kepler
pissed me
better
off a
versus
couple
lefties.
episodes.
It's crazy.
This pissed me off too.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add a row below 2026 S tier, and I think I'm gonna call it every Twins player ever. Because Trevor Larnack is every Twins player ever.
You're putting Kepler there too.
Kepler is every Twins player ever.
Was Austin Hayes in there?
Austin Hayes is every Twins player ever.
Okay.
It's Conforto.
Brendan Donovan, is that who that is?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's penciled in for left
He's
field.
every Twins player ever.
Okay. I'm starting to see the vision a little bit.
Like, they kind of hit, and you're like, what was that?
Yeah.
Like, this can't be what the problem is, but
Nolan Jones, sure. He had a freak season.
Yeah.
he's a Twin.
Every Twin player ever.
You had a really good year.
Morel's freaking me out right now.
I think he's bottom for me.
Sal Frelick's throwing me out. We could put Morel on the bottom. He's got to prove it.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a position.
No position. He's left field because they just had to put him somewhere. And his offense is basically all just hitting homers, which is cool.
Last year
There's
got
one thing to
bad.
do.
I'm going to root for Chris Morel, but I'm okay with him being in the bottom. And he doesn't give me Twin vibes,
No, he doesn't at all.
which is kind of hurting him right
A
now.
little bit.
Sal Frelick's every Twins player ever.
Yeah.
Fine with that. And for the people watching, I know you can see Ellie and Jordan. They're on a future DH list.
Yeah. They
So
got
just don't
DQ.
worry about that they're down there.
Don't even sweat it.
That I think Lourdes Gurriel, Conforto, Randy, Ward.
Nemo?
I'm trying to genuinely think like who I'd rather have. I guess Nimmo and Conforto, I don't have strong opinions on.
Yeah, right? Because I think Thank You, Sir, Can I Have Another? It really should be the guys that did well last year. And Nemo, he didn't.
Okay, so we need another row.
Yes. I think it's a row
I
between
think those five are a tier, and it's like the 2021 All-Star team or something.
Okay, so a row after. That is okay. So Thank You, Sir. Can I have another? Profar, O'Neill, and Ramos. You guys were great last year. Need to replicate it.
Right.
Ramos, you can maybe even be better. Nimmo, Conforto, Gurriel, and Randy.
Because they were all, and Ward, because they were all kind of
And Ward.
two WAR players that can play the position and hit above league average, but like they've been better players before, and you suspect that they can still be that player.
I mean, Michael Conforto just got $17 million from the Dodgers to be on that team and
right,
play.
and he's going to be a platoon hitter, which means his numbers are probably going to go way up.
Is there like a report card type comment that's like there's more in there?
Trying to think what the
Looking up
teachers
report
would
card
tell me.
comments. Let's see.
It's like not achieving,
Is kind and helpful to everyone in the classroom.
underachieving.
Seeks new challenges.
Did those guys underachieve last year?
Kind of. Collectively? Is it mean to call it just underachievers? Because that kind of feels...
Underachieve but believe. Trying to think.
Needs improvement.
Needs work. That's good report card lingo. Horrible flashbacks right now.
Yeah, really tough.
My God.
Ooh.
You like that noise?
A little bit. I didn't know you had that in your book.
Underachieve but believe.
And underachievers is too long of a word, so it splits into two rows, and I hate that. So we can't.
Achievers.
Believe they achieve. Believe they can achieve.
Want more, but this is fine.
Oh, I kind of like want more, but this is fine. Because it is fine. Like, I'm not mad.
Like if you have this level of
production,
production or better is kind of where you're like
because all
cool,
these
where like the
guys
guys below could be, you could end up in a bad place.
Besides Ward, all these guys were on winning teams, and they weren't the best player on their team, but they were still contributors.
Just like amazing 6-hole hitters.
Yeah.
If you have one of
six-hole
these
hit?
guys in your... The two ideas that ran through my head were that or... And again, I know we've already hammered this, but like, would be amazing on the Reds.
Oh, can we do White Sox best player?
Yeah.
White Sox best player?
I mean, easily.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
Easily.
White Sox best player.
White Sox best player. not.
So mean.
That's okay.
I love it. It's great. Okay.
Do we like Benny on a row on his own?
I don't. I think
maybe just put him in every Twins player ever.
that's fine with me, even if he doesn't quite fit.
There's part of me that liked it, part of me that didn't. Okay, let's do a run through, see where we're at, see where we have to juggle. At the top, moving stage left, your S tier. It is Riley Green. It is Jarren Duran. Ran out of hands. 3-time consecutive Gold Glove winner, Stephen Kwan and Ian Happ. Can you play left field? Important for left field, some might say. Santander and Altuve. Thank you, sir. Can I have another? Profar. Who's my beefy guy? Tyler O'Neill. Elliot Ramos. Name fart there. White Sox best player, Taylor Ward, Randy Arozarena, Lourdes Gurriel, Brandon Nimmo, and Michael Conforto. Queens. 2026 S tiers, Langford and Wood. I think that's going to age well. Sometimes I don't feel great about that. Every Twins player ever. We have Benny, Larnack, Kepler, Hayes, Donovan, Jones, and Frelick.
Every Twins player ever is so funny.
Really are. This is maybe the bottom. I've got 2 face mashes for your A's and your Padres. A Marlins player who I know, and MJ Melendez and Chris Morel.
So that leaves Jason Dominguez. Does Jason Dominguez get his own tier, like right above the bottom?
What if he's good?
Because you'd rather,
I feel like
you'd rather take your chance on Dominguez than all those Twins,
I
right?
want to ask a question.
Sure. Oh, God.
What if Dominguez is good?
Right. What if he's good? What if he's bad?
What if it's...
How many good players come out of the Dominican Republic, and how many get the nickname the Martian?
What if it's he's in S tier and I finagle the graphic for it to be like a gap between him and Wood?
What if,
I'm interested in the
hear
gap.
me out,
I'm interested in the gap.
a tier below 2026 S tier is 2026 B tier, and it's Dominguez.
You're so mid.
2027 S tier.
2027 S tier.
Yes, that's the answer.
That's the answer.
That's the answer.
Okay.
Below 2026 S tier is 2027 S tier with Jason Dominguez.
Because I think he needs time.
Um,
It's not going to happen in his first full season.
Things I feel uncomfortable with,
Okay.
but I don't think there's changes.
Sex ed.
For some reason, I think Max Kepler is going to be really good. I think Philly's that ballpark.
Is he the best player on the White Sox?
Where did his numbers land, though? Because unfortunately,
He was a replacement level player. He was 1.0 WAR.
Better versus lefties than righties, which is weird.
I hate that.
I'm good on that.
He's a twin.
I believe in
So
him.
he's got
Austin
Twins
Hayes
hat on,
bounced
Jake.
back. He's every Twins player ever. Okay, this is just instinct. I think he's going to be good.
Yeah.
Do I get Plouffe's headshot just on there?
Put Plouffe in there. That'd
I
be
think
great.
that's a good idea.
I think Chris Morel's good at baseball. That I think this could end up looking weird, but I don't even know if he's a left fielder, so I feel okay with that.
They're going to play him everywhere.
If Sal Frelick hits at an average level, he's going to fly up this list next year. Otherwise, I'm okay.
Yeah, I think I'm
Otherwise,
okay
I'm
too.
okay.
Benny, I feel a little funny about, but I don't think you can put him any higher. I mean, we could put him in White Sox best player because he is their best player.
If anything, I think Benny's supposed to go down. He's
Okay.
been pretty bad. I think we gave him the benefit of knowing his name pretty good.
Yeah, he was pretty bad last year.
Good last 2 months, and he'll play
Get
defense.
traded somewhere. Get traded somewhere.
Repeat that in the first half, and you can get flipped to somewhere fun.
Right?
Okay.
That was our left field tier list. That was Jolly Olive. That was BBD. Let us know what we did wrong, what we did right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. We will see you next week.
Wicked Jake is a production of Dan Patrick Productions, John Boy Media, and Workhouse Media.